So J.K. Dobbins' injury obviously raises a lot of questions for the L.A. Chargers. He's their starting running back and went down during Monday night's game against the Ravens. What's the latest?
He's got a knee sprain.
Okay.
And they've already said that he won't be playing in the game against Atlanta.
Right.
But after that, it's really kind of unclear. It's up in the air.
I see. And obviously, he's a key piece of their offense.
Absolutely.
So this has got to be a big concern for them.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you look at his stats this season. He's 9th in rushing touchdowns and 12th in rushing yards.
Yeah.
He's not just somebody who's getting a lot of yards. He's also really difficult to bring down.
I see.
So he's hard to replace.
So what are the Chargers going to do?
Well, they'll be relying on Gus Edwards, their backup.
Right. And how does he compare to Dobbins?
Well, I mean, Edwards is a decent running back.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have that same power and elusiveness that Dobbins has.
Okay.
His yards after contact average is much lower.
So that tells us that he's not breaking as many tackles.
Right.
And his style is more about finding a hole quickly and hitting it.
I see. So how will all this affect their game plan against the Falcons?
Well, right now the Falcons defense is ranked 19th against the run.
Okay.
And they're giving up an average of 127.2 rushing yards per game.
Mm.
Their main weakness defensively is at linebacker.
Okay.
They seem to have some trouble shedding blocks.
Uh-huh.
And filling the gaps effectively.
I see. So I guess that means that, not having Dobbins might not be a total disaster for the Chargers.
Yeah. I mean, it's not ideal to be missing your starting running back against a team with that kind of weakness against the run.
Right.
But it's also not the worst possible matchup for them either.
So what adjustments do you think the Chargers will need to make?
Well, they'll probably need to rely more heavily on the passing game.
Okay.
Try to exploit those weaknesses in the Atlanta secondary. Okay. That's a pretty big shift, though, isn't it? I mean, they've been using Dobbins quite a lot to control the clock and set the tempo of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how are they going to replicate that?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
I mean, it won't be easy.
I mean, Dobbins has had injury problems in the past.
Yeah.
So do we have any idea how long he's going to be out for this time?
Well, right now they're saying that it's up in the air beyond this week's game. They're hoping for a quick return, obviously.
Right.
But they're being very cautious.
Of course.
The good news is that it's a sprain and not a tear.
Right.
But given his history, I think they're going to be, taking a very conservative approach with him.
So what does this mean for Justin Herbert and the rest of the Chargers offense?
Well, this could be a really crucial moment for Herbert. I mean, we'll get to see if he can carry the team the way some of those top quarterbacks in the league can. The Chargers are really going to need him to raise his game,
right,
and make plays while Dobbins is out.
So you're saying the passing game's going to have to be even more effective than it's been?
Yeah, definitely. They're going to need their receivers to be winning those one-on-one matchups and making plays downfield.
Okay.
And they're also going to have to get creative with their play calling.
Oh.
Using their tight ends more.
I see.
Maybe even some of the receivers in the running game.
Right.
Just to keep the Falcons guessing a little bit.
Right. So this puts a lot of pressure on the coaching staff too, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are they gonna stick with their usual game plan?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Or are they gonna have to, really shake things up?
I think we're probably going to see a bit of both, to be honest.
Okay.
They're going to have to adjust to not having Dobbins, of course.
Right.
But they also need to make sure they're using the strengths that they do have.
Right.
Like their passing attack.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
So it's about finding that balance.
Exactly.
Okay. And what about in-game adjustments? I mean, how much do you think they're going to have to adapt to what the Falcons are showing them?
Oh, a lot. I mean, that's going to be key.
And this could be a chance for some of the younger players to step up too.
Yeah, definitely.
We might even see a new offensive leader emerge from all this.
It's possible. This is a real opportunity for some of these guys to show what they can do.
Right.
And potentially, earn a bigger role in the team moving forward.
It really feels like the Chargers are at a turning point here.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's a real test of how strong they are as a team, how adaptable they are, and how much depth they really have.
Right. And their response is going to determine not just the outcome of the next few games, but it could have, a big impact on their future success as well. So while everyone's focused on how to deal with Dobbins being out,
Yeah.
this could have repercussions that go way beyond this season.
Well, I think so. This is going to force the Chargers to evolve.
Okay.
And we'll find out a lot about them in the next few weeks.
It's going to be fascinating to watch this unfold.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, they've got some tough games coming up.
Yeah.
And it's all going to come down to the coaching staff,
Uh-huh.
the players they have left on offense,
Right.
and maybe most importantly, the attitude of the whole team.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, can they stay positive and determined in the face of this adversity?
That's what we need to see. It's a real test of their character and their potential.
This is going to be a great story to follow.
For sure. I mean, this is the kind of situation that can really reveal what a team is made of.
Right.
Can they come through this stronger?
Yeah.
It's the big question.
That's what we'll all be watching to find out.
Absolutely. This isn't a new situation for NFL teams, of course.
Dealing with a key player being injured.
Exactly. It happens all the time. And the challenge is figuring out how to move forward without them.
Are there any examples from the past that can help us understand what the Chargers might do?
Well, there have been plenty of teams that have gone through similar situations. And often what happens is that they have to change up their offensive strategies.
Okay.
You see players taking on different roles, and the whole team has to pull together.
Can you talk a bit more about those changes in strategy?
Sure. Sometimes when a star running back goes down, teams will shift their focus to the passing game. Other times they'll take a committee approach,
Okay.
splitting the carries between several different running backs.
It seems like the Chargers have a clear path forward with Justin Herbert in their passing game.
That's definitely their strength, but
Yeah.
the problem is that they can't become too one-dimensional. If they only focus on passing, they'll become predictable,
Right.
and that makes them much easier to defend against.
Is there a risk of over-relying on Herbert?
There's always that risk. It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
They need to use his skills, but not put too much pressure on him. The coaches have to find that sweet spot.
This situation really highlights how important it is for a team to have depth.
Depth is absolutely crucial in the NFL. Injuries are going to happen, and the teams that are able to deal with them are the ones that have players who can step up and fill those gaps.
So this could be a chance for the Chargers to see what they've got on their roster.
Exactly. And it could also help them identify areas where they need to improve.
Maybe some hidden strengths will emerge.
That's always a possibility. It's a chance for players to show what they can do and maybe contribute in ways that they haven't been able to before. Some guys might really rise to the occasion.
Aside from strategy and personnel, how does a team's culture play into dealing with something like this?
Team culture is huge in situations like this. If you have a strong, unified culture, it can help players stay focused, support each other, and get through the tough times. It's all about resilience, determination, and believing that you can still succeed.
It'll be interesting to see how the Chargers respond. Are there any specific things we should be looking at in terms of their performance?
One thing to watch is how well the offensive line can protect Herbert and create running lanes for Edwards. The receivers need to win their matchups and make plays. But I think the most important thing is to see the team's energy and fight.
Do you think this could actually end up being a positive experience for the Chargers in the long run?
It's definitely possible. Sometimes going through tough times can make a team stronger, it can bring them closer together, uncover some hidden potential, and they can learn some valuable lessons.
So this could be an opportunity for the Chargers to grow and become even better.
Exactly. It's a chance for them to evolve and become more resilient.
How they handle this will really show their character.
It's a defining moment for them. Their response will tell us a lot about who they are.
This whole situation really underlines a basic truth about the NFL.
And what's that?
That it's a game of constant adaptation.
Oh.
The teams that can adjust to challenges, embrace change, and use their strengths are the ones that are going to thrive.
That's the key to success in this league, and that's the test that the Chargers are facing right now. How they respond will determine their future. All eyes are on the Chargers now.
There's a lot of pressure on them.
Absolutely. The media, the fans, everybody's watching to see what they're going to do.
So what are people going to be focusing on in terms of their performance?
Well, the biggest thing is going to be how effective they can be running the ball without Dobbins.
Can Edwards handle that workload?
That's the big question. And the performance of the offensive line is going to be really important, too.
And what about the passing game?
Herbert's got a lot on his shoulders. He needs to really step up and lead the offense.
Do you think he can make up for the loss of their main running back?
That's the challenge he's facing. He needs to show everyone that he can carry the team.
There's a lot of pressure on the coaches as well.
Definitely. The plays they call and the adjustments they make are going to be crucial.
So can they figure out how to be effective without Dobbins?
They're going to have to be creative. The Falcons are a tough opponent, and they're going to have to come up with some new strategies.
But beyond the X's and O's, how about the team's attitude, their mentality?
That's really important. How resilient are they? How determined are they? Those are the things that everyone's going to be looking at.
Can they maintain a winning attitude when things get tough?
That's the real test of their character. We'll see if they can rise to the challenge.
What do you think is the key to them being successful?
They can't just sit around and think about how much they miss Dobbins. They've got to adapt. They've got to move on.
So focus on what they do well.
Exactly. They have a strong passing attack, and they need to use that, but they also have to find ways to run the ball effectively.
It's a tough balance.
It is. They need to be aggressive, but they also need to be smart.
The way they handle this adversity is really going to tell us a lot about them.
Absolutely. It'll shape who they are as a team, and it'll determine where they go from here.
Any final thoughts for our listeners?
The Chargers are at a crossroads. It's going to be really interesting to see where they go from here.
It's all about their ability to adapt and to overcome these obstacles. That'll tell us a lot about their potential.
We're going to learn a lot about this team in the weeks ahead.
This is a great reminder that the NFL is constantly changing.
The teams that embrace change and step up to the challenges are the ones that are ultimately going to succeed.
Goodbye, and see you in the next video.